Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome to all the CrossFit athletes that are coming to Madison. Mark and I were out at the CrossFit Games this afternoon.
Yeah, you want to feel bad about yourself? It's a place to go.
It is so inspiring, though, isn't
Really?
it? I thought so. Oh, I thought those.
Yeah, they are inspiring.
They're incredible.
And we're going to find out what it takes to get to these games.
Yes.
400,000 people start out, only 560 make it.
It's incredible, incredible. And we're going to be on location later this week. We'll get a little taste of it later this hour.
All right, but first, here's what's making news on this Tuesday. The medical examiner takes the stand in day 2 of a murder trial in a Dane County court.
In a Virginia courtroom, the trial for President Trump's former campaign chairman is underway. Paul Manafort is facing bank fraud and tax evasion charges.
And he survived the Korean War portraying Hawkeye. Now, Alan Alda is facing a bigger challenge.
Let's take a look outside today. Kind of a mixture of clouds and sun. Another warm day.
Got kind of warm out there, but
did.
This guy's got the right idea. Just stay in the shade, be by the water. Oh, there's a whole flock of them.
Oh, look at that.
Why are they all up there? That's unusual.
Nap time.
I guess so. More T-storms tomorrow, however. Chris Reese is in the backyard, where the humidity is moving up a little bit.
The humidity has begun to move up a little bit, especially across the western half of the state today, gradually working its way east. But the western half of the state is where we've seen those showers and thunderstorms develop right now. Here they are on high-resolution Doppler. You see a lot of those over towards Grant and Crawford counties at the moment near Richland Center. That's all the areas getting in on some of those showers and thunderstorms today. So it's not as widespread as what we saw yesterday, but we've still seen some of those. Greater shower and thunderstorm activity has been south of the Wisconsin border across portions of Illinois, gradually working its way to the north. That's actually what has sent a lot of that cloud cover our way today. Speaking of the cloud cover, that's what you've seen for the past several hours looking out courtesy of our WISC-TV camera and over downtown. So far, the temperature has made it to about 79, well, it made it to 79, and that's going to be about our high today. I'll be surprised to see temperatures move upward anymore with the cloud cover that we do have out there. So 2 degrees shy of normal for this time of the year. 79, of course, where we're sitting right now. The dew point here in Madison has dropped into the lower 50s, but still, especially as you work your way to the west, you do find more in the way of that humidity. We'll see more cloud cover going through the evening, eventually clearing some of that out once the sun begins to set, lows falling into the low 60s later on into the afternoon and evening. Here's a live look at Todd Drive where the traffic is moving, so that is good news. But of course, that evening rush hour starting to get started. So of course, we are seeing more and more brake lights beginning to pop up on the Beltline and downtown. Those will be increasing as we go through the next hour or so. For the city, or for the county of Dane County rather, we'll be seeing more and more traffic build up, but the interstates are looking good as of now. Back to you guys.
All right, Chris, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. First at 4, it is day 2 of the trial of a Middleton man accused in the murder of his landlord.
John Hammond is accused of beating 82-year-old Agnes Brom to death back in April of 2017. Eric Franke's in the News Center with an update on the latest testimony. Eric?
Mark and Susan, among those on the witness stand today, Dane County Medical Examiner Vincent Tranquita talked about arriving on the scene back in April of 2017, says he was able to determine a window of time in which Agnes Bram died. Her body found Friday, April 28th, 2017. Dr. Tranquita testified she likely died a day or 2 earlier and that the body had been moved after the attack. He described multiple severe injuries to her head that caused death and possible defense injuries on her hands and wrists.
The bruising of the right wrist could be consistent with being grabbed and having hard force applied to the wrist, or potentially striking, impacting the surface with a blunt object, or being impacted by a blunt object as you're using your body as a shield between yourself and a weapon.
Dr. Tranquita said there's no way to determine if there was more than one attacker, but said it is possible it could have just been one. The 54-year-old Hammond had been a tenant leasing a room in Bram's home in the 7100 block of University Avenue in Middleton. He is facing a charge of first-degree intentional homicide. Court records indicate he withdrew an insanity defense back in May. This trial expected to last the rest of the week. Mark and Susan.
All right, Eric Franke in the newsroom with an update. Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome.
Facebook says it has uncovered sophisticated efforts to influence U.S. politics on its platforms. The company says it doesn't know who is behind the efforts, but said there may be connections to Russia. Facebook says it has found some connections between the accounts it removed and the accounts connected to Russia's Internet Research Agency that it removed before and after the 2016 presidential election. The earliest page was created in March of 2017. Facebook says more than 290,000 accounts followed at least one of the fake pages.
Opening statements are scheduled this afternoon in the criminal trial of President Trump's former campaign chair, Paul Manafort. He faces the possibility of life in prison if convicted of bank fraud and tax evasion charges. Paula Reed is at the federal courthouse in Alexandria, Virginia, with the latest.
Things are moving very quickly here at federal court in Alexandria, Virginia. A jury has been seated in the prosecution of Paul Manafort. Special counsel Robert Mueller has charged Manafort with bank fraud and tax evasion, alleging he failed to pay taxes on tens of millions of dollars earned from his lobbying work on behalf of Ukrainian politicians. He allegedly laundered the money through lavish purchases, including homes, luxury cars, and even custom clothing. While there is nothing in the charges related to Russian involvement in the Trump campaign, the case is the first public test for the special counsel's investigation. Now, Mueller had been hoping that Manafort would flip and share anything he knows about Russian involvement in the campaign, but Manafort's lawyer made it clear that is still not going to happen as he made his way into court today.
Any chance that he may decide to flip and cooperate?
No chance.
One of the witnesses expected to testify is former deputy campaign chairman Richard Gates. He was Manafort's one-time business partner, and he entered a plea deal with special counsel. Now, at any time during this trial, Manafort could still choose to enter a plea and try to cooperate with special counsel. Another thing that can happen at any moment is that Manafort could be pardoned by the president. Paula Reed, CBS News, Alexandria, Virginia.
And that trial is expected to last 2 weeks. The Madison School District is setting a new list of goals after meeting many of the ones they set 5 years ago.
This year, adding a new focus on the excellence of African American students. Our Amanda Quintana is here with what they've accomplished. Amanda?
Yes, well, compared to 5 years ago, more young students are reading well. More are graduating from high school, taking more challenging courses, and earning higher GPAs. But this is not enough. Today, MMSD announced their new strategic framework after sharing their progress over the last 5 years. 17 of the elementary schools met or exceeded goals, while 5 made more than 20-point gains. The overall graduation rate is also up 6 points.
Our graduation rate for African American students was 54% 5 years ago. It is now 74%. Thank you.
Their next set of goals include something new: to have African American students excel. The district hopes the previous strategic framework has set a foundation that they can now build on. At 5, we will hear more about that Black excellence goal and why it's being looked at as more of a philosophy to change the narrative about Black students in Madison.
Very interesting.
Great
We'll see you at
numbers.
5. Yeah. Thanks,
thank you.
Amanda.
Firefighters are still struggling to contain deadly wildfires across California. The so-called Car Fire near Redding has destroyed over 800 homes and is now the 7th most destructive fire in California history. Chris Martinez has the latest from Redding.
Streets are quiet and mostly deserted in fire-ravaged Redding neighborhoods. Some evacuees have been allowed back home, but mainly in places the fire never reached.
The areas that have not been allowed in, what needs to happen before people can come back?
Well, they need to decide that it's safe for them. So we need to make sure that the utilities have been taken care of, that any hazards have been cleared from the area.
Throughout Redding, residents have posted signs expressing thanks and support for fire crews. More than 3,000 firefighters from more than a dozen states continue to battle the monster blaze that's charred an area larger than the city of Denver. The fire is now heading away from heavily populated towns.
It is burning up into more rural areas. There are still residences, there are still structures that are threatened, and so the firefight is still very real.
With many people still evacuated here in Redding, police are beefing up patrols. At least 5 suspects have been arrested for looting and several others for illegally entering evacuated areas. About 100 miles south of Redding, crews are reporting progress against twin wildfires that forced the evacuation of several communities. The town of Lakeport was cleared out Monday when the Mendocino complex fires inched closer. The Martin family used their RV to flee.
The sheriff came and, said, woo, 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 coming down the street, and they went door to door, and they're like, you gotta go.
At least 17 wildfires are burning across California, and authorities are bringing in new resources daily to help battle the flames. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Redding, California.
Alan Alda has revealed that he has Parkinson's disease. In an appearance on CBS this morning, the 82-year-old award-winning actor, best known for his portrayal of Hawkeye Pierce in the TV series MASH, revealed he was diagnosed with Parkinson's 3.5 years ago.
The reason that I want to talk about it in public is that I was diagnosed 3.5 years ago, and I've had a full life since then. I've acted, I've given talks, I help at the Alda Center for Communicating Science at Stony Brook. I started this new podcast, and I noticed that I've been on television a lot in the last couple of weeks talking about the new podcast, and I could see my thumb twitch in some shots, and I thought, it's probably only a matter of time before somebody does a story about this from a sad point of view, but that's not where I am.
Alda said he got tested after reading an article about how one of the early signs of Parkinson's is acting out dreams. Alda says he hopes by going public it will ease the fears that others might be feeling and also to put his own mind at ease.
He said on the morning show he dreamt that he hit a guy with a sack of potatoes in his dream, and he ended up hitting his wife with a pillow.
Oh, no.
So that's when he knew that he was acting.
He knew that he had to get tested.
There's something going on.
I think it's brave to talk about it because then other people realize they're not alone.
And it's certainly not a death sentence.
No,
he's living a full life.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there's more to come at 4 when it comes to healthy foods. Can you get too much of a good thing?
Consumer Report says yes, and coming up, you'll find out why. Yes, Mark, you can have too much kale.
Yes, and he is too much. Well, beginning tomorrow, a company called Defense Distributed can release plans for 3D printed guns, even 3D printed AR-15 style rifles, free of charge online.
And that is not sitting well with many states. In April, the government settled a case with the company, allowing the Texas-based nonprofit to start posting downloadable designs for 3D printed guns on August 1st. Now some states are suing to keep it from happening, and even the president seems to be questioning whether it makes sense. The president tweeted, "I am looking into 3D plastic guns being sold to the public. Already spoke to the NRA. Doesn't seem to make much sense." Democrats on Capitol Hill introduced legislation to stop the online publication.
There should be nothing partisan about this measure. Gun dealers, the NRA, please join us.
Texas supports it. All the South supports it, right? Like there's not enough political will to stop it because there's plenty of people who want it.
8 states and the District of Columbia are suing to block the federal government's settlement and keep the blueprints from being posted online at midnight. Governor Walker says he has not had time yet to look at the case.
The Trump administration is citing safety to justify freezing gas mileage requirements. The Associated Press has obtained excerpts from a draft of a regulation prepared this summer that would freeze an Obama-era program intended to improve fuel efficiency and cut pollution. The Trump administration argues that heavier vehicles are safer than lighter ones and that people would drive more and be exposed to increased risk if their cars get better mileage. On Wall Street, tech stocks rebounded, and that sent the market higher. The Dow Industrials gained 108 points, closing at 25,415. The NASDAQ Composite Index added 41. The S&P 500, there we go, added 13.5. When it comes to healthy foods, you may think if some is good, more must be better.
But hold on for just a second. Leah Lynchide and Consumer Reports say it is possible to get too much of a good thing.
Trying to follow a healthy diet? That's great, but Consumer Reports nutrition experts say you can overdo some healthy foods, even fruits and veggies. Best is to eat a wide variety of them. Sticking to just a few may mean you don't get all the nutrients you need, and you could get too much of some. For instance, foods with beta-carotene, the orange pigment plentiful in vegetables like carrots and sweet potatoes, supply the body with vitamin A and help fight cell damage. But eat too many of them, and your skin can turn orangey. Cut back, and that color will fade. Many fruits and veggies are packed with fiber, as are beans and whole grains. But upping your fiber intake too much too soon can cause gas and bloating. And too much fiber overall might block the absorption of some nutrients.
It's always best to get your fiber from foods that contain it naturally. Foods that are fortified with fiber may be more likely to cause stomach upset.
On to protein like meat, chicken, fish, and tofu. More is better, right?
In some people, too much protein can stress the kidneys and liver and may increase the risk of osteoporosis.
It's pretty easy to get the right amount of protein just by eating well-balanced meals. No need to add fortified foods like protein bars. For most people, eating 3 servings of protein-rich foods daily, including non-meat items like yogurt and quinoa, is enough. For WISC News 3, this is Leah Lynchide.
Now, Consumer Reports says that most healthy people who eat a wide variety of foods won't need vitamin and mineral supplements. That's something Dr. Zorba Pastor always says.
That's right. Get it from food.
Right.
Overuse of those can also lead to potential problems, so talk to your doctor before taking any type of nutritional supplement.
There's more to come tonight at 4. When we come back, we'll meet a woman who is doing something good in the battle against breast cancer. Charlotte DeLeste's Do Something Good report when we come back.
Take a look at this. A 1-year-old Fort Worth, Texas girl hears for the first time after receiving a cochlear implant. The device is activated, and she smiles as she hears sounds for the first time. Mom and Dad are overwhelmed with emotion. Little one still has challenges ahead, but on this day, the sounds of silence are no more.
Oh, that is something. Gives me
See
goosebumps.
the light go on in her eyes?
Look at her mom. Oh, that's so sweet.
It is Tuesday, July 31st. It's National Mutt Day. A day to celebrate mixed breed pups. You know, I did that 23andMe thing. Yeah. I'm a mutt. I think we're all mutts, aren't we? We're all mutts.
We are. It's also National Cotton Candy Day. This treat originated in Europe in the 19th century. It was known as spun sugar back then, which is essentially what cotton candy is. Now, the first cotton candy machine showed up in this country in 1897. Get this, a group of dentists came up with that. You know, dentists always seem to give me candy. I'm onto something.
Yeah, I think there may be a repeat business there.
Yep.
And today is National Avocado Day, and holy guacamole, look at this one. It's a huge variant that originated in South Africa, and it's been nicknamed Avozilla.
Look at the size that compared to a regular one.
That is something. The taste is said to be just as good as a regular avocado. You obviously just get a lot more of it, but here's the rub. For now, growers say you can only find these monsters in specialty shops in Australia, which leaves avocado fans in our country green with envy.
That would be a lot of guacamole.
Oh, I love it. That's one of my
size
favorite
of that
foods.
thing.
So
I love
much
it.
guacamole.
And they're good for you.
Good stuff.
You could have a party with that one.
Just the one.
Guacamole party, one avocado.
That's all you
we
need. Yep.
Exactly. All right. No green really showing up on radar today, other than a few splotches, but they'll have more of that tomorrow.
Okay.
I've got your full forecast coming up when we come back. Good afternoon to all of you out there. Fairly warm into the afternoon as well. A lot of folks did see highs into the mid and even upper 80s. 88 for our friends in La Crosse. We get back towards Minneapolis. That's where they saw a high of 85 today, 87 near Brainerd. But here in Madison, we kept our highs so far into the 70s. 79 is as warm as we have actually gotten today. A lot of that warmer air has been off to the west where they saw a little bit more in the way of some sunshine. Now, yesterday, we actually got in on some decent showers across the area. Officially here in Madison, picking up just under a quarter inch of rainfall. So that shapes us up. It's still being really right around an inch in the hole for the month, and I don't think we're really going to make up for that as we go through the rest of today, because tomorrow we flip the calendar into a new month. Over the past 24 hours, most of the rain has been spotty. This has just updated, and it's not showing you where a lot of that rain has been, but there we go. Anywhere between some places getting in on some pretty decent showers that picked up more than 2 inches of rain, and then some places, especially right around just the north of the Madison area, didn't get much of anything. So it was all about location, location, location with where you were yesterday, depending on how much rain you ended up getting. But today we did see more cloud cover moving in from the south. That's actually helped to keep us a little bit cooler here in the Madison area today compared to what our temperatures could have been. You look to the north and west, we did see more of those cumulus clouds begin to pop up later on today. Those did produce some small isolated showers and thunderstorms earlier on. Now those are working their way towards the south and east. Across the Midwest, the main regional low pressure sparking off more showers and thunderstorms throughout portions of Missouri and especially central Illinois as we speak. That regional low pressure will be gradually working its way towards the north and east, eventually leaving our area and losing its impact on us. Throughout the day tomorrow, our attention will turn to an approaching cold front coming in from the north and west. That will mean more chances for some showers and thunderstorms, especially as we get you into the afternoon and evening. Once that cold front gradually makes its way on through, do expect a lot of those clouds to linger throughout the day on Thursday, especially early before we begin to clear out some of that cloud cover headed into Friday. Let's bring you on closer to home. We'll notice a lot of the clouds thinning out as we approach sunset. Temperatures falling into the 60s overnight, low 60s by the time we wake up tomorrow. Those shower chances increasing as we get you into your Wednesday afternoon and working their way in from the north and west. Then again, like I mentioned, those clouds will linger. Check out this model. By 2:30 on Thursday, it still has temperatures that are into the 60s. So if this proves true, Thursday will likely be a fairly chilly and kind of cloudy day in and around southern Wisconsin. But as far as how much rain we may see headed into the new month, our precipitation potential model only giving us a little under 0.4 of an inch of rain, but you work your way to the north and west and it gives Black River Falls a little over 2 inches. So we're going to be paying close attention to those showers and thunderstorms as they begin to develop. In the meantime, we are keeping the cloud cover around out there today, 79 right now. Throughout the rest of the evening, expect your temperatures to fall into the low 60s. By tonight, we'll see a low right around 60 degrees. Then headed into tomorrow, 81 degrees before those showers and thunderstorms get started once again. And we'll stay in the 70s headed into your Thursday. We'll keep a lot of clouds around Thursday as well, with the slight chance of a shower. But by the time they clear out, high pressure takes over for Friday, and Friday is going to be another one of those spectacular days. Low humidity, but with that dry air, our temperatures will bounce back into the low 80s. Then there's Saturday, and I don't really want to talk about it because the heat index is there. So I'm not going to talk about it. But yeah, it's going to be pretty warm. We're going to see those temperatures returning into the upper 80s again. And that will last through the rest of the next 10 days before we get in on another cool down. But you can't go a year without the dog days of summer.
That's right.
That's what I've been saying. And so here we are, approaching the dog days.
August Eve.
Yes, it is.
Enjoy Thursday and Friday.
I will be enjoying Thursday all day.
All right.
Bet.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks,
Anytime.
Chris.
Well, people dealing with a terminal disease says it can be like walking a fine line, a tightrope of hope and reality.
Instead of wallowing in grief or asking why me, Mary Goose is almost embracing it. She found a new purpose in the life she has left. Our Charlotte Deleste says her focus is to do something good for others like her, and she's diving in head first.
It's serene, it's calm, it's simply beautiful. It's one thing to look at a lake, it's another thing to swim across it. Mary Goose is swimming for her life.
And I can swim for hours.
Mary has metastatic breast cancer, stage 4. She's dying. 113 women die of METS every day.
If a plane crashed with 113 people on it every single day, we would be up in arms. Money would be thrown at the airplane industry to find out what's going on. And this is happening, and we're not getting money. So that needs to stop.
Mary and her husband, Rob, decided to do something.
How do we now change the sort of the ball game to give more options for people like Mary?
We need research monies into the right hands.
In fact, less than 7% of all research monies go into metastatic breast cancer research, even though nearly 30% of women diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer will develop METS. 30%.
It is scary. And when I have met with women who have initial breast cancer, I'm their worst nightmare.
So Mary decided to swim.
And I have swum 40 lakes, or 40 bodies of water. And we've raised a lot of money for the UW Carbone Cancer Center.
Her goal is to raise $1 million and a whole lot of awareness.
There are people like me all over the country that are raising awareness, and I've connected with all those women. You're hearing our voices more, I think, because people say, you know, we don't want to die.
To understand the impact, the concept of those women dying of METS, Mary staged a die-in.
It was a very moving tribute. You know, there's a lot of young women, especially, out there with this disease. They die very quickly.
From swimming to blog writing to meeting newly diagnosed women.
That's something that you do as a human being. You help others.
Her acts of awareness even got her all the way to the heart of Times Square. But she says it's not just about her.
I don't know if the research will keep up with me and new drugs will come out, or if what I'm doing will help my daughter or my granddaughter.
It's selfless service, one stroke, one lake at a time.
It's that fine line of between living and dying, and you know, I'm living with this cancer, but I'm also dying with it too.
That is one inspiring lady.
She certainly is.
We'd like to thank both Mary and Rob for doing something good. If you'd like to learn more about Mary, her swims, metastatic breast cancer, and how you can help, please check out her website. It's onewomanmanylakes.org.
And if you know of a person, a business, an organization doing something good, let us know about it and nominate them at channel3000.com/do something good.
Go, Mary, go.
Yep. Well, coming up next, pulling weeds can be a never-ending chore.
But one man has turned those chores into something a little more creative.
Invasive plant species, we know them as weeds, can spread quickly and if left unchecked can blanket native ecosystems. I'm Mo Lulengi in St. Michael's, Maryland, and I'll introduce you to one man who's turning these weeds into artwork.
a live look just off the Capitol Square on this Tuesday afternoon. Nice downtown today. Weeds are very pesky for any gardener.
But some invasive plants grow out of control and damage local environments. One man in Maryland is offering a solution through art. Mo Lange is in McDaniel, Maryland.
So I call this prospecting.
Patterson Clark surveys the lush landscape, looking for weeds. For Patterson, weeding isn't just a horticultural chore.
Notice the bast on this, very flexible.
It's an artistic endeavor.
That makes a beautiful paper.
He transforms something often seen as ugly and intrusive into something beautiful and sustainable.
It's a way of showcasing the inherent value in these plants. They're regarded by many people as just the lowest of the low, but they do have something to offer.
Patterson harvests weeds to make paper, rope, ink, and even musical instruments.
What made you want to get involved in it?
I was volunteering for the Park Service to remove invasive plants from a local park. So I thought, how can I best use this material? Since I'm an artist, I use art to solve my problems.
And weeds are a growing problem.
What would happen to these elements if they weren't being, I guess, recycled and used?
Well, they do really well. They don't have many predators.
In his studio, Patterson boils, presses, and shapes the weeds into materials he uses for his visual art.
This is soot from burning invasive species.
Okay. Patterson says the products and artwork he creates are all ecologically sustainable.
I'll know that I've succeeded when I run out of material, but I'm not going to run out of material anytime soon.
Patterson hopes others might be inspired to get in the weeds to find their own solution to a growing problem. Mo Lange, CBS News, McDaniel, Maryland.
And for more information on Patterson Clark's artwork, visit alienweeds.com.
Boy, who knew they were that versatile?
Yeah.
And there's a never-ending supply.
That's right. He'll never run out.
For the second year in a row, the CrossFit Games have returned to the Alliant Energy Center in Madison.
560 athletes from around the world are here competing for the title of fittest in the world. We'll find out what it takes to make the cut when Live at 4 continues.
Happy Tuesday, and guess what time it is? Time for many of you to head home, but that also means you're going to be facing some of that traffic as you head out. Here's a live look at Todd Drive and the Beltline. That traffic volume is starting to increase, and we're seeing more and more of those slowdowns as well. It always starts with the Beltline, so that's where we're seeing a lot of that as of now. Beltline speeds moving anywhere between 22 and about 30 miles per hour as of now. But of course, you know, as we go through the next 15 minutes to a half an hour, that's going to get even slower. There may be some spots where traffic comes to a standstill for a few minutes, but it will move over time. Once you get past John Nolan and Broadway, things do open up a little bit, other than a few slowdowns as you begin to approach the Stoughton Road area. Downtown, you're going to see a lot more slowdowns than usual because those CrossFit games are getting started. So you may want to plan some alternate routes as we get that going as we go through the rest of the week, but do expect plenty of traffic with that. Other than the city of Madison, the rest of Dane County looks great. Traffic is moving along smoothly, other than the construction that we are seeing on the interstate as of now. Eastbound on the Beltline between Verona Road and John Nolan, averaging about 23 miles per hour. So it's expecting to take about 11 minutes for that there. And then on eastbound University to the interstate, it's taking you just shy of half an hour as of now. Guys.
All right, Chris, thank you. Remember this young man. A 10-year-old swimmer in California is making headlines for breaking a Michael Phelps record. His name is Clark Kent, and yes, they call him Superman. On July 29th, he broke Phelps's longest-standing record at the Far West International Championship. Phelps' record in the 100-meter butterfly was 1 minute, 10.48 seconds. Clark's time, 1 minute, 9.38 seconds. Clark also took first in every event of the championship. His goal is to swim in the Olympics one day.
Clark Kent. How could you forget that name?
He is a champion. Well, if Madison seems more fit than usual this week, there's a good reason. For the second year in a row, the city is hosting the CrossFit Games.
560 elite athletes from all over the world, 32 countries are here to compete for the title of the fittest in the world. Earlier today, Mark and I talked with the CrossFit Games general manager, Justin Berg, about what it takes for an athlete to make it here to these games.
The athletes that are competing here in Madison are the top 1% of 1% in the entire world. Over 400,000 people began the season testing themselves to see if they had what it took just to make it to the semifinal round. And then these athletes excelled at the semifinals.
So this is the Olympic Games of CrossFit, essentially.
It is. We have over 32 different countries represented just in the individual competition. So we've got a tremendous representation here, and all of these athletes from around the world not just bring their fitness, but they also bring their community and their friends and family as well.
And a lot of thousands of people come and just watch. What's the allure for spectators?
It's a festival. So it's not just a sport, but people are exercising, they're eating. There's a lot of music, a lot of opportunity to, get a tan. There's great kids activities on site as well, little obstacle courses. And for a lot of the families here, it's an opportunity to be really close to professional athletes that do all the right things. They're taking care of their body, they're concerned with their health, they're performing at the highest levels. And to be able to get an autograph or be that close to what are heroes for a lot of these young kids that are coming out, it's really special.
How is CrossFit different from just other kinds of sports and things you do at a gym? Why is this on a completely different level?
What it is just the best of all those things wrapped into a very simple package that anybody in the world can do. So it's a combination of weightlifting, gymnastics, and sprinting activities, but it's done in a way in local affiliated gyms where even though you might be a world-class couch potato, they'll dose it so it's the right workout for that day and put you on a track to get better over time.
But this is that on steroids. Not that steroids are involved here, not insinuating, but I mean, this is
the elite.
A marathon row.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not what you're going to do in a gym.
No, these are the best of the best. We do have a robust drug testing program, but the athletes that you're seeing here are the most extraordinary athletes in the entire world. They train year-round without knowing the specific events that they'll do when they're on site in Madison. Last night, they found out that they're doing a 3 to 4 hour long row. There's other events that they don't know that are still popping up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so they have to show up prepared for anything that could be thrown at them.
I bet they're thrilled about that row.
Well, they'll have a lot of time to sit and contemplate it.
There are more surprises coming, I'm sure. The CrossFit community is a special community as well, right?
It is, and I think it's an inclusive community. It's highly tolerant, and what is the least common is the way people look. So that we see people in gyms all over the world that are not just six packs and they look like a college athlete, but people that have lost 50 pounds. You know, people that are their best performing version of themselves, people that are off their diabetic medications, people that are making these improvements in their health and lifestyle choices, and they rally around each other. So when there's that bright spot in a local community, they talk about it, and it usually brings people into the doors.
And you guys seem to like Madison, Wisconsin.
We love it. This is a unique city for us. We are very hard to satisfy. We've run events all over the world, from Berlin to Sydney to Reykjavik, Iceland, and all over the United States. We were in Los Angeles for 7 years, and the fit and size of Madison is particularly special for us. It's got its own identity, great food. The fitness community here locally is so strong, and then for us to be able to take over the town and feel welcomed is really special.
Oh, welcome.
Welcome back. Great to see you have a wonderful competition.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This starts out with 400,000 people trying to get into these games, and it winnows down to 560.
Isn't that incredible? And there are 30 teams. There's a masters division, ages 40 and up. There's a teenage division. And watching them do those handstand push-ups was...
You were particularly impressed by that.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's really inspiring.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, and we'll be on location there on Thursday. We'll be doing the whole show live from the CrossFit Games.
And the competition starts tomorrow, and it's streaming online, so just go to the CrossFit page, and they'll have CBS Sports is also streaming it as well. So we'll looking forward to Thursday.
Yes, we are. It'll be fun.
And we'll have a final check of your forecast coming up. So no rain tonight necessarily.
Not necessarily. There's a chance.
Out west there is.
Yes, it depends on where you're located. I've been watching some of those showers out west. I'm not too impressed with those chances here in Madison, but I'm going to leave it there. That possibility of an isolated shower or storm. Temperatures falling to about 67 by midnight. Eventually overnight, lows will fall to about 60 under some partly cloudy skies. But here's Doppler track. We are tracking those showers to our south and west as of now. We'll keep doing so, and if anything pops up for us here in Madison, we'll let you know.
All right, thank you, Chris.
All right, Chris, thank you.
Anytime.
Coming up tomorrow here on Live at 4, it's a combination of cookies and community. A new bakery in Middleton isn't really new, but more of a rebirth.
Our tastemaker, Andrea Bailing, will check out Bloom Bindery. It's delicious cookies and books on the same menu. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4.